Welcome back, friends. For today, in the next few episodes, Sarah and I are going to discuss this beautiful, beautiful, sweet book, Never Too Late to Love, Our Lady's Sublime Teaching on Prayer, written by David Torkington. And as always, all citations, notes, and whatnot can be found on my website. I am mostly, though I have some wonderful, wonderful helpers. I really can't. Sarah is a top tier helper. Poor soul. Poor soul. I
Hey,
have
only for recommendations.
I have others, but more or less it is me, a one woman show. So some might wonder, why don't I put the show notes up on YouTube? Because I have a platform there, or Rumble, who, thanks be to God, has never had a censoring bone in their programming body. And the answer is it's just me, myself, and I most of the time uploading this. So I do it at my website, and that's the long and the short of that. Okay, so David Torkington. The beginning of a new year. So when these shows roll out, they'll be tracking into a new year, new liturgical year.
2026. How can we be there?
I don't know how that happened. I don't know
Every
how
year catches
it
us
is.
by surprise.
That's right. That's right. So the beginning of a new year has always invited the human heart to pause. Something in us looks back with honesty and gratitude and forward with desire. Even in secular contexts, people instinctively sense that the turning of the calendar carries a call to renewal. We make resolutions because we recognize that life is not static. It moves, develops, and bends towards a purpose. The Christian understands that this impulse is not accidental. It reflects the God who created time, entered time, and redeems time. The Church approaches the new year with maternal clarity. Her liturgical calendar does not begin with resolutions about efficiency or self improvement. It begins with longing. Advent reawakens desire for the one who comes and keeps coming. In this way, the new year is not primarily about what we plan to accomplish in it, but about what God desires to accomplish in us. Our resolutions find their meaning only when they rest within His initiative. Most resolutions focus on secondary goods, health, order, financial prudence, professional stability. These are worthy in their place. They express responsible stewardship. Yet, when they become our primary concern, they subtly train us to believe that our flourishing depends on our own strategies. The Catholic tradition insists that authentic flourishing begins elsewhere. It begins in the interior life where grace restores the harmony that sin disrupts. The, yes, yes. For this reason, the saints speak of the interior life as foundational, not optional. Saint Teresa of Avila, with her unmistakable clarity, teaches that growth in prayer reorders the whole person toward God. She writes that anyone who desires to live a Christian life must begin with a sincere determination to persevere in prayer. Prayer opens the soul to grace. Prayer teaches us to see as God sees. Prayer disposes us to receive the particular graces each new year will require. So the modern life places unusual pressure on the interior life. The pace accelerates, distractions multiply, and silence grows scarce. Um, I'll come back to the silence part. These conditions make the beginning of a year more significant, not less. We cannot drift into spiritual growth. Drift always moves downward. Growth requires intention, attention, and a willingness to shape our day so that the things of God hold precedence. A resolution without structure is only a wish. A spiritual resolution is a response to grace, an acknowledgement that God desires our sanctification more than we do, and that he will supply what we lack if we offer him our willingness. So the beginning of a year is not a summons to anxiety about personal improvement. It is an invitation to listen again, to allow God to reveal his desires and to surrender more deeply to his work. The Christian does not stand alone before a blank calendar. We stand with Christ, who promises to remain with us. We stand with Mary, who teaches us how to receive and respond. And we stand within the church, whose sacraments and rhythms sustain our journey. It's never too late to begin again, and it's never too late to let God reorder the interior life. A new year simply reminds us that renewal is always possible, grace is continually offered, and that the spiritual life can be deepened whenever we turn to Him sincerity. And so I offer for consideration, what desire is God awakening in you for the year ahead? And what small beginning is He asking you to make? So as these unfold, I'm sort of new year, new trials. I think this is to put some questions for consideration, journaling, however you care to use or not those inspirations.
Yeah, I think oftentimes we get trapped in the belief that if we haven't initially begun something, immediately, that it does become too late, right? We put ourselves on an artificial time clock, but the title of this book says it all, that it is never too late to love. It's never too late to amend your life. It's never too late to make those changes that you want to see happen. And particularly a beginning of a new year really is an excellent time for pondering those kind of things and accepting it, right? I mean, accepting the reality of who you are and just going forward with that.
That's right. That's right. And um, you're, we are never, ever alone. We have Christ, we have Our Lady, we have the church. The church is liturgical. We have our guardian angels. We have those good and holy souls that He has so graciously put in our lives. He's that we have existence in and of itself. It's just
Yeah.
it's there for the
Plethora of grace ready for the taking. Yeah.
it is. And silence. So we're talking about finding our moments of silence and how it comes to be harder and harder. And God bless this beautiful pastor, downtown church, lovely, beautiful stained glass. Just, I mean, he has done yeoman's work in so many ways. And I know he's thinking of what is best for his people. And music. We have canned music with words, and um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is hard. It is hard. I encountered an idea and was reading. I'm in a study group on Conchita,
Oh, right.
talking about keeping a holy hour, and it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you're in a place and you have a holy hour and you can avail yourself of the Blessed Sacrament, absolutely. But we can't always have that, and for various sundry reasons. And we have people around the world in various sundry countries who don't have as
Access
free
to that.
access as we might wish that they had. And you can have a holy hour in your own home, in your own space, and you're in control of the music or
Yes,
the volume.
that is very true. Yeah.
And
Or
that's
no music, right?
or
Silence or
no
no
music.
sound.
I
Right.
mean,
Exactly.
you can
Yeah.
do you. You can do you. And that is really a nice thing.
It is interesting that you bring that point up, right? About America. I mean, just well, it's not really America, but the world has really lost an ability to not have a sound accompaniment. That's only really a modern issue. It's a modern problem because even just 75, 80 years ago, right? Whenever the radio became really commonplace, people generally spent hours of their day in silence, authentic silence, where maybe the only sounds that they heard were the sounds of nature or and we are a people who are inundated with constant and chronic, I'm actually going to call it chronic titillation. And it is an enormous deficit both to the imaginative life, but also the spiritual life. And I don't think that you can have one without the other. I think that you
Oh,
need to have a broad imagination, and I think that that's an essential element to help foster a vivid and lively spiritual life. And you can't really do that if you're always being um, if your imagination is being created for you by some other entity, be that a radio, be that an image, a picture, a television screen, a movie, that really we're almost and it seems kind of crazy, but in some sense we're almost being collectivized to one common imagination, if that makes sense, right?
okay.
I mean, back in the day when you read a book, when somebody in the 1800s read Dante's book, they were at liberty to create the beauty of Beatrice on their own, right? And maybe we're still able to do that mostly because nobody's found a way to make a movie of the Divine Comedy. But we all know that nobody can picture Star Wars, right, without an image of the Hollywood actors that played those roles, right? So, and as television and the internet and different things like that become more and more pervasive in our lives, the less that we're going to have authentic silence and the less we're going to have a pure imagination and the more we're going to be directed. And so, those of us who want to live counterculturally really do need to avail ourselves of real sincere silence, real sincere one-on-one time with God, where he fills that imagination with himself.
Very good. All right, Prince, let us pick up in the next episode. Our spiritual development should have pride of place, for good or ill. Till then, my friends, Fides, Ratio.